Okay, so hello, anybody that's watching and anybody that's going to be watching later on. So I'll leave it on the website. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Simon Duffill, and I am a singer and vocal coach based in Weston-super-Mare. Um, I decided to do this last week because as a singer, I've lost all my work. And so I know a lot of other people are in exactly the same boat. And I'm hoping that there's a few of you out there that hopefully are going to gain something from this who are in the same situation as singers or as performers, guitarists, singer songwriters, whatever. And that you're out there and maybe I can give you something, a few skills, and then you can go out and do a similar thing. It's not that difficult. You can go live on YouTube quite easily. I've got a few website skills. That means I can put it on a website, but just go out there and do it because of these difficult times. It's a great time to be out there, just sharing some stuff and hopefully helping each other out. Um, the reason I'm doing this is that I think doing anything positive in times like this, especially for those of you who are self isolating, is great for your physical health, but obviously really good for your mental health as well. Because we're sharing an experience, and I'm hoping down the line that we can do it in such a way that we can all join in on maybe Zoom or something similar. So let me know in the comments section, or give me a message through my contact form, and let me know what you think. So normally, like most coaches, I coach one to one, and this is by far the best way to do it. You're hearing people's voices, you're hearing what they're doing, you can see physically what they're doing. So in this case, I can't do that, obviously. So what I'm going to try and do is over the next coming weeks is do more and more of giving information that I've learned over 25 years of coaching, and hopefully help some people out and keep it so that people who have never had a singing lesson in their life or never even sung in their life can benefit from some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, especially today. Especially today. Um, Now, there's a lot we can do over the coming weeks, and I thought I'd just run down some of the topics I was thinking about covering. But again, let me know in the comments. Let me know via any kind of messages. If you know me, there'll be people out there that know me, know how to get in touch. If not, there's the contact form on the website. But whichever way, if you want me to bring something up, or we can do a song, or we can perhaps share something else, then let me know. Some of the topics I thought which is useful if you're working as a singer, um, essentially starting with the main singing lessons, looking at pop technique, musical theatre, classical. We can cover all of those. Looking at range development, how can we extend our range, get more effective range, both high and low. For those of you who are involved in theatre or involved in some kind of presentation work, we're going to look at acting through song. How can we make our story more compelling? How can we make it more deliverable? We're going to also look at strengthening the speaking voice. So, if at work you ever give presentations, or if you're ever in a position where you're having to speak to more than one person, then we're going to look at how to strengthen the speaking voice as well. We might also look at text work for actors, so how we might lift the words off the page and again be more compelling, make it real, make it authentic, and maybe look at speech training for actors and singers in the sense of clarity, expressiveness, and meaning. Um, so let's go to the top of this session. For me, there are three main branches to becoming a top singer or a top performer, because singing is so much more than just singing. And one of those is, of course, rock solid technique. And so when it comes to voice and singing technique, we need to look at, perhaps I like to work in threes. So it just makes it easier for me to kind of comprehend. So if we work in threes as well, if you don't mind, um, there are three areas of technique, of the way in which we physically manifest our voice, that makes it work properly and makes it work effectively. So those three areas are the foundation of the voice. That's everything from the neck down, basically. So the lungs, the diaphragm, the core muscles. You all know this. I just like to break it down into those areas that when we start to effectively use these, then that becomes easier to kind of compute. Then the second area is the vocal folds and the area around the creation of our sound. So that's the larynx, the external muscles of the larynx, the vocal folds themselves. So we'll be looking at that at a later date. And finally, the filters, the bit that makes our voice sound good or interesting. And that's the pharynx, the nasal cavity, the tongue, the teeth, the lips, all those bits and pieces. So by putting those three areas together, we've got the rock solid foundation down here. We've got the creation of the sound here and the muscularity around that. And then finally, we've got the filters that filter it into those beautiful noises that we want to finish off making. Then that whole thing hopefully ends up in a really nice, well presented voice. We have missed two other key areas. I said rock solid technique was only one of three. So we'll look at those later. And one of those is psychology and performance psychology and confidence. And that's something we can look at later on. But I thought we'd start easy, get to the physical stuff so we can actually do something. I think that's really good at the moment while we're all cooped up inside. So today, we are going to zone in on the area that's really relevant at the moment, and that is the foundation of the voice, and more specifically, the lungs and breathing. So, we've seen in the news lately that COVID-19 is a upper respiratory tract disease. So what does that mean? How does that affect us? Well, what it means is the disease attacks the respiratory tract and into the lungs, which causes our immune system to then attack that and cause really thick, horrible phlegm and really thick, horrible, gooey stuff in here, which makes the lubrication of all that really hard work and means that breathing becomes harder. So having a really good, solid, strong, muscular foundation around our breathing system is really a good idea. Also, while we're stuck indoors or while we're stuck self isolating, it's really easy to get into a habit of not breathing very deeply. So, if you're sat down, if you're watching telly, or you're doing something at a desk, or you're working from home, it's really easy to get into that shallow breathing. So, doing something like this once a day not only will help your physical health, but also your mental health. Now, why is that? That's because we're going to add oxygen into our bloodstream. So, by breathing deeper, by creating more oxygen in our system, we are sending that around the body, and that ultimately is going to help the body systems fight off infection, fight off the propensity for our mind to get a bit low. And hopefully, if we do this once a day as well, the physicality of doing that just lifts our mood and gives us a bit more energy. So, practicing breathing for singing is designed to build the muscles that assist the breathing, and it helps us control our vocal. So, it helps us become a vocal athlete in a sense. Um, so, as I've described, the benefits in this current climate are obvious. If you've got really strong muscularity around the lungs and the core muscles, then you're going to be able to fight that infection if breathing does become difficult. But ultimately, this is for people just to feel better and stronger. And those of you who are singers, just good reminders about technique that we can use. So, what I thought it'd be fun to do is to combine two things: breathing for singing techniques and exercises, and mindful breathing techniques as well, which have come out of kind of yoga and Pilates and different techniques from around the world. But essentially, they all aim to the same thing. And even Apple got hold of this for the Apple Watch. As many of you who've got them will know, there's a breathing app on there that reminds you regularly to do some deep mindful breathing, even if it's only for a minute. So hopefully, if you can get into this, then we can breathe for a minute or two, or maybe five, and then we'll feel a little bit better and we can get on with the day. if you can do this, and if you are sat at a desk and you can do this as a little break throughout the day, you'll be surprised at how much better you can focus and how much better you feel when you sit down. So let's get into it. Unfortunately, I haven't got loads of room in this area here where the computer is, but hopefully you can see me and hopefully I can get back far enough to demonstrate. So what we're going to start with is we're going to get the body and everything pumping. So I think it's always a good idea for all of these sessions to have a bottle of water. I'm not fan on plastic, so I've got my reusable metal bottle, but get yourself some hydration because breathing deeply does dry your throat a little bit when you keep moving it. You'll find that once we start singing, actually, the moisture comes back. But while we're doing this breathing technique, good to keep lubricated. And although there's been a lot of hoaxes around about the fact that drinking lots of water will kill the infection, it is still really good. Keep hydrated, keep drinking regularly throughout the day. It just keeps all these systems in good nick. So let's start by getting on our feet, and I'll do the same. Get rid of the chair, and we're just going to have a little stretch. So I'm not small, and I don't know if some of you know that my wife is a Pilates instructor. She's doing, I'll give her a little plug. She's doing online Pilates on our Facebook page, Pilates in Uphill. So you want a bit of that in the morning, check that out. There's a couple of sessions already on there. So you can have a bit of a stretch and get those core muscles working. But for us, we're going to be a little bit more low key. We're just going to take a little bit of a stretch up, excuse the belly. Short, I'm going to wear a longer t-shirt next time. That was a mistake, wasn't it? There's a few people out there laughing now. Okay, and then just stretch out. Okay, take it wide. And then bring your arms back behind you. So we're opening up the chest. And take a deep breath in. And really get some air into that lungs and then let it out. Joe Wicks wouldn't wear a short t-shirt, would he? So, and then we're going to do the same again. Arms up, breathe in. And then let the arms down, breathe out. Okay, good. And then we're just going to do a little bit of walking on the spot. This is just to get the blood pumping around the body, okay? For those of you who can't do that, just do a bit of raising the arms and lowering them. Just so the muscles are working a little bit and we're getting a little bit of circulation going. That's all we're doing here, okay? Just doing a little bit of movement up and down. Just walking on the spot and then up on your tiptoes and down. And we'll go up on our tiptoes again and down. And don't forget, if any of this is impossible for you or you're finding it difficult or it's hurting, just don't do it. Do something that you can do. Good. All right. So give it a little shake. Shake your hands. Put it into your arms. Take it into your elbows, into your shoulders. Really big shake out. And then give them a really firm end shake. And then stop. And you should feel a little tingle in your fingers and a tingle in your toes, just to quote Sweet Charity. Okay, little fingers and toes should be tingling. That's the blood starting to pump around. All right, so we're going to start some mindful breathing. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to flip this screen up a little bit so you can see me a little bit better. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm going to just turn the mic up a little bit more so you can hear me a little bit clearer. Hopefully that's better. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the top of our breath and the bottom of our breath. Okay, so that's the extreme ends. Now, most people who are sat at desks all day are not going to be using anywhere near this amount of breath. It's only when you exercise and really push yourself that you use the maximum amount of breath that you can use. So what we're going to do is we're going to get to the top and the bottom of our breath. So just take a deep breath in, hold it for a second, and then blow it out all the way until you've got rid of all of the air. And make sure there's none in your lungs. Okay, same again. I'm going to breathe it all in. All the way top, that you can get no more in. And then blow it all the way out again. And again. Find the very top. Hold for a second. And then let it out again. Good. I can see you doing it. Okay, and again. And out. why are we doing this? You carry on while I just discuss it. I want you to feel when those lungs are at their fullest and when their lungs are at the emptiest. Okay, it's good for singing technique in the sense we get a sense of when we're full, when we're halfway, and when we're empty, and then we can get all the bits in between. So let's just try that. We're going to breathe all the way in, fill the lungs, hold it for a second, then let it halfway out. Hold it for a second, and then let it all the way out. That's all the way in. Hold it for a second, halfway out. Hold it for a second, and out all the way. Good. All right, let's try that one more time. All the way, halfway, all the way out. Good. Well done, everybody. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold it at the top and hold it at the bottom. Okay. So we're going to breathe in all the way. We're going to hold it for 2 counts. And then we're going to breathe out all the way, hold it for 2 counts. Here we go. Breathe in. Hold for 2 counts. Breathe out. Get rid of all that breath. And hold for 2 counts. In. Hold for 2 counts. And all the way out. Hold for 2 counts. And again, in. Hold for 2 counts. And then out. Hold for 2 counts. All right, let's change that up a bit. Okay, this time we're going to breathe all the way in. We're going to hold it for 4. Okay, and then we're going to breathe all the way out and hold it for 4. Here we go. Breathe in. Hold. Out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to balance our breath. So what we're going to do now is do some guided breathing. So with this, we breathe in for 4, we hold for 2, we breathe out for 4, we hold for 2. Okay, let's go. Breathe in for 4. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In, 3, 4. Hold, 2, out, 2. Get rid of it all. Hold, 2. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. I'm slowing it down a little bit. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4. We're slowing it down even more. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, and finish. Right, I found I was trying to do it at the same time as talking, and that is never going to work. Right, so this time we are going to breathe in for 4, hold for 2, and then breathe out for 8 and hold for 2. Okay, so that's in on 4, hold for 2, out on 8, hold for 2. Okay, here we go. So off we go. Breathe in. Ready? In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold, 2. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold, 2. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold, 2. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And stop. Well done. Right, let your breathing come back to normal. I'll let my breathing come back to normal because that was trying to do it and think about it at the same time, and then you lose where you are in the count. So hopefully that all made sense. All right, so those sort of 4 areas. So we start at the top of the breath to the bottom of the breath, just holding for 2 at the top and the bottom. And then we did hold in for 4, hold for 2, out for 4, hold for 2. And then we did in for 4, hold for 2, out for 8, hold for 2. Those are really good basic mindful breathing techniques. Now let's move into breathing for singing. Okay, this is where it gets slightly different. Okay, when we breathe normally, we do something called passive inhalation. Okay, so we inhale passively. We don't think about it overly, we just do it. All right. Those who have been through this COVID-19 have experienced that they've had to actually think about breathing because it's so hard to do it, and that must be devastating. I cannot imagine what that must be like. So my heart goes out to all of those people that have suffered with that. Hopefully most of us, and nearly all of us, will get very mild symptoms, so stay safe, everybody. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at what happens when we breathe for singing, because it's slightly different. Now I'm going to use this area here just to demonstrate it, because I have to do that, otherwise I can't think about it. But if you can imagine, we've got a straight line across here. Okay, let's go here because there is actually a straight line there. Okay, and we call that the line of rested breath. I'm going to put the computer even further up so we can see the top of the door there. The line of rested breath. Yeah, so that's where your breath just naturally rests. If you naturally rest your breath, you can both breathe out and you can breathe in. So if you relax, you can go and get rid of some air. At the same time, if you relax, you can also go and let some air in. So this is the middle bit, the line of rested breath. When we are passively inhaling, what we're doing is we are drawing in a little bit of breath, whatever the body requires at the time, and then it's going back out again, back to this rested point. So you're breathing in, and then you're relaxing it out. Breathing in, relaxing it out. When you're doing any form of exercise, the body is demanding more air and more oxygen. So what happens then is your breathing increases, doesn't it? So when you're breathing deeper, okay, you're doing then active inhalation. So you're actively bringing the air in, extra oxygen, blowing it out, and then bringing it back in again. Now, for singing, we want to be doing something slightly different. We want to be doing something called active exhalation. Okay, what's that, Simon? Right, what that is where we're actively getting rid of the breath during the process of singing. Okay, the reason we do this is in order that the in breath becomes the relaxation part. Okay, let's flip that back over again. So active inhalation is where we're exercising and the body's demanding more. And what happens is the in breath becomes the action. And what have we got at the top of the in breath? What happens? We get lots of tension, specifically around the throat, which is the worst thing we want just as we're about to sing. All right. So if we use active exhalation, we go back to this line of rested breath idea. Okay. We can get rid of the breath first. We're actively pushing it out. If you get rid of all your breath now and hold it out for 3 seconds, your body just wants to let it back in. If you relax, it'll just come back in. Okay. So what we're going to practice now is getting rid of our breath and making that the action, and then letting it back in, and that being the reaction. So the active bit being the exhalation, the passive bit being the inhalation. Okay. So just try that with me. We're going to blow all the air out as hard as we can, and then we're going to hold it for 3 or 4 counts. Here we go. Blow out. And then relax. And the air comes back in. Now, I wonder how many of you, when the air came back in, felt your chest rise. Okay. What we're trying to do is limit the amount of use of the top part of our lungs. They're smaller part. It's called clavicular breathing when we breathe very high. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not something that we want to normally do when we're singing. We want to be singing deep and often called diaphragmatically, but we'll go into all the terminology later. All we need to know at this point is that we want to be getting rid of the breath, okay, actively, and that the in-breath then becomes passive, okay? So blow the air out. hold it for 2, and then let it back in. Okay, so the way we can practice that to start building up these muscles is we can put a sound on it or something to give resistance to the air. If we use a sh, sh, sh kind of sound, so put your hands under your rib cage, and then as you're getting rid of that air actively, you're going to go shh. Hold it for 4, and then let the air back in where your hands are. See them open then? Okay, let's try that again. All right, so what you should feel is as you're blowing the air out, your muscles around here will tighten as they're squeezing the air out. And then as you let the air back in, we want that to relax again. So we feel this kind of process happens. We go shh, shh. And by monitoring it with the hands just under our rib cage, we can see how much action's going on. Okay, here we go again. Shh. And we should really feel, if we're creating a lot of resistance here, you can feel these muscles really engaging. And this is the engagement. This is when we talk about support. Okay, what we're really talking about is anchoring to these strong abdominal core muscles. Okay, mine are under there somewhere, and we've all got them. So just get in there and hold on to them. And we can use this resistance method to start to build those muscles and to start to get that sense of the start of the breath and the end of the breath. Okay, well, I'm going to have to wrap it up soon because I said I'd do about 30 minutes and I need to get on to the next session. But if you can practice this once a day, even, and just do a little bit of that work, it'll be really good at building up those muscles, building up the sense of where the top and the bottom of your breath is, and to start to gain control over your voice. Because ultimately, you need to know where your breath is in order to be able to phrase, to be able to hold tone, and to be able to create good, round, long tones, which will give your voice its quality. Listen, this was a trial session, never done this before, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. I'm going to come back and sit with you. Take a swig of water if you've got it. I'm going to do the same. If you've enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up or give me a little comment. I'd love to know what else you'd like to cover. I'd also love to know who joined in. There was about 10 of you today, so that was fab. And you've stayed all to the end, which I thank you. So I'm going to try and do another one on Thursday. And then next week, I'm going to start doing 5-minute bite-sized snippets. Just a little plug. As you probably know, with most of us in the singing trade, we have lost an awful lot of business. So we're trying to do what we can, or I'm trying to do what I can, stay positive. So I'll be offering one-to-one sessions for people online via Zoom, which means I can see you and you can see me. And I'll be doing that through the website. So keep an eye on the website. I'll be putting up all the details in the next few days. So if you know anybody who would be up for it, or even a group session of up to about 3 people maximum, then it lasts for about 30 minutes. It'll be a one-to-one session. We'll cover whatever you want with singing. We can go through songs. We can do all sorts of things. Technology now is so good for that. Even just having a phone makes it possible. So thanks for joining. I'll see you back. Thanks, Chloe, for your comment, by the way. Yeah, brilliant. I'll see you really soon. Take care, everybody, and keep well.